Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of how to make a 2D Minecraft style game in C Sharp. In the last episode, we moved the little square that we made over to this entity class, and we gave it gravity. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a world for our character to actually move around in. So first, I want to actually organize what we have here. So we're going to create a folder called entities, and we're going to move this guy into here. Gonna move him there. And as you can see, once we've moved him into here, nothing really changes. But next, what I wanted to do, because of that, I wanted to make a new file, right? And I'm going to call this player.cs. And we're going to take all this stuff, or at least this stuff right here, and we're going to put it into a player. Before we do that, though, what we want to do, we want to make a new variable in the entity, and this one is going to be a bool. And this is going to be on ground equals false. And we're going to be going into here, and we will do on ground equals true. Oh. We're also going to add another if statement here. If motion dot y is greater than 0. Alright. Next, we want to turn this into something called a virtual function. Whoops, virtual, right there. And that is going to really come in handy with this player here. So we're going to make another class, public class player. Right? And then we're going to look right next to the L key. There are these two little dots. We're going to hold shift and click on that key. We're going to do that. And then we will type in entity here. That's going to turn the player, that's going to tell the program that the player is an entity. And then we can go into here, this update function, because this is virtual. If we do public override, and now we can click on this update here. Oh, or press enter actually. And now it creates this whole thing for us. It has the double delta, and it has this thing that says base update. What this is doing is this is taking this update here, and it's running this. So now, what we can actually do, we are going to take this, this 5,000 here. We're also going to go into program, and we're going to create a new constant variable. And this is going to be, actually, let's make a new folder, and we're going to call this utilities. We're going to create a new file in here called constants.cs. Public class constants. And in here, we're going to do public static int, and this is going to be in all caps, tick speed equals 1000. And then we can do times, we're going to do 5 times tick constants dot tick speed, 5 times constants tick speed here. Actually, instead of doing it there, let's do times delta here, and times constants tick speed. Or, no, we don't want this delta, actually. We're just going to have 5 times delta here. And then motion y equals negative 1 times constants tick speed. Actually, we could right-click on this, rename it. We're going to call this, actually, default move speed. And then, actually, let's add in underscores here. You can right-click on that and click rename symbol, and that will allow you to rename it. And this is just going to make it a little bit easier to read, and so that we can always have this 1000 here. And then next, we are going to go into constants as well. We're going to do public static double gravity equals 5. And then we can do constants dot gravity times delta. And now that we have this here, we can actually, let's do Control X. And we're going to do constants dot gravity. Remove this, actually. We can go into here, -5 times default move speed. Now we can just do constants gravity times delta here. We can remove this gravity. Oh, whoops. That might actually be 1 times default. Sorry, I put the gravity in the wrong place. It is motion y plus that. This one over here is for the jump, so we need to do motion y is 1 times constants dot default move speed. Alright. So now, we're going to move all the stuff for controlling the player into this player class here. So we can go and select all this, Control X, and then under base.update, Control V. And then hover your mouse over this, quick fix using Raylib. There we go. And then under here, let's remove this and put that there. And then Control X, remove that. And we have this on ground here. So we can do if on ground. And we can access this because the player is an entity. So anything that is public here, your player also has. So now, when we go into here, we can change this to be a new player. Let's press the run button here. And nothing is actually showing up. So let's see why that is. Let's comment this out. And what this is called debugging. This is something that you have to do a lot with programming. So player let's see if we get rid of this just real quick. It's still not showing up. All right, let's do Control Z. That'll bring it back. So, let's see. In here, let's remove this for a second. Let's comment that. All right, so the player is moving. Let's see what is going on. Is there something going on with the gravity? All right, we have the gravity at -5. Let's go in here, remove the negative. This gravity should actually be a +5. I messed up a bit there. All right, there we go. Now we've got the gravity working. Let's look at this now, because it's not jumping. We need -1. That was from earlier when we accidentally switched the gravity and stuff around. And now it's moving really fast. Going up. Jumping. Let's change -0.1. Still very fast. Alright. Let's see why it's doing that. It's because we've multiplied this by constant.moveSpeed. The reason I'm showing you all this stuff with the errors here is because when you are programming, there's going to be a lot of times where you run into some errors. So actually, yeah, let's keep the default move speed here, right? Remove the default move speed in gravity, and remove the default move speed here. That's going to make it a lot easier to type stuff, because now all we have is the default move speed. So we've removed all the stuff for that in the player, and we're putting it right here at the end. All right, now we've got this player here. All right, so now what we can do is we're going to make a new folder called world. And we're going to make a new file in world called world.cs. And that's going to be a public class world. All right? So, the world is going to have a public void update with a double delta, and a public void render double delta, just like we have in the entity here. And then we're going to use what's called a list. All right? So a list, let's say that you wanted to go like shopping, right? And you wanted to make a list of all the things you needed. So you'd go 1, you'd add like eggs to the list, right? 2, you would add like milk. And then 3, you'd add cereal. And that's your list here. And then if you got your milk and you wanted to cross it off the list, you'd cross it off there. You don't have milk there anymore. You get your cereal, you cross that off, and you get your eggs, and you can cross that off, right? So that's going to be what we're going to do here. We're going to do a public list. See, this list has this little thing here. And we're going to type that there. And in here, we can put entity. And that's going to make it a list of entities. And we're going to call it, oh, it's got a name for us already, entities. And we're going to do equals new. And we're going to make a new function of public void add entity. And we're going to do an entity. And we're going to call it entity. And a dvec2 position. Right? And then we're going to do entity dot position equals position, and we're going to add the entity to the list. So that's going to be entities dot add entity. Right? And then in here, we're going to do something called a loop. If we do entities dot, and we're going to type in for each and press enter here. Or actually, you know, we'll do a simpler one. We'll do for entity in entities. And that's going to get all of the entities. And we actually have to type in, it says for each expected. So we have to type in for each. And now we can do entity dot update delta. And then we can copy this, paste this in here, and change this to render. So now we can go into our program and we can make a world. World equals new world. We can do world dot add entity player new dvec2 250 250. And then instead of player render, we can do world render and world update. Now we have this player here, right? What if we wanted to make another entity? Let's do entity 2 equals new entity, and world add entity 2 new dvec2 50 250. Now we've got two of them. We've got your player, and we've got this entity 2 here. We could do entity 2 color equals color green. Right, now we've got your player, he's red. We've got this guy, he's green. Alright. So now the next thing we want, since we're doing a 2D Minecraft, right? We want blocks. So, the way we would do blocks is kind of similar to a list, but it's something called an array. And an array is like a list, but you've only got so much stuff that you can fit in it. This one is 2, 3, 4, an array with a space of 5. On a list, you could just keep adding stuff to it. On an array, you've got your stuff here, and you just want to say what this one is. Like, this one could be eggs, but this one over here could be, like, peanut butter. But there's nothing right here, right? So that could be kind of like how you have, like, the blocks in Minecraft that you can break, right? Like how in Minecraft you have, like, something that might look like this. Let's say that you had your blocks right here, right? And the white ones are air. And then let's say that the green ones are like your grass, right? Oh, whoops. And then the red ones are like the dirt. That's like a Minecraft world, but you've got your one list here, or one array here, and there's each one is 5. But this is called a 2D array because you have stuff going across here and down here, and it makes this grid of blocks that you can do stuff with, right? And the way we would do that in here is we would do a public, and we're going to say color. And let's click on the Raylid color. We're going to create this, it's next to the P key, this little box right here. And we'll put a comma inside of there. That makes a 2D array. And we're going to say it's a new color. We're going to do the box again. Oh, we have to do blocks. And this is going to be 50, comma, 50. So that's going to create this. That's going to be 50 long and 50 all the way down. Right? And now we've created a whole bunch of colors. Now what we need to do is we need to set the colors. So classes have something you can do called a constructor. And the constructor, when you do the new world here, that is using the constructor, but we don't have one here. So let's make one. Let's do public world with the parentheses, and that's your constructor here. Now every time you do new world, it's going to do the stuff in here. All right, so what we can do something called a for loop. We can do for, kind of like what we did here, but instead of for each, it's just for. And we can make an int x, and that's going to be 0. We do the semicolon, and we can do x is less than this 50 here. Another semicolon. X equals x plus 1. And the curly braces. And then let's copy this and paste this in here. And we'll change the y, like that. And y equals 0, y is less than 50, y equals y plus 1. Right? And now, we can do if y is greater than 25. Blocks, and then we'll do this box here, x, comma, y, equals color dot red. And then we'll do something that says else blocks x, y equals color dot, let's see, sky blue. Right? And now, let's add in this render function here, add some extra space, and we're going to copy this, paste this here, and remove this. Next, we're going to go into constants. We're going to create a new constant called block size, public static int block size equals 50. Right? Then we go in the world. And now we're going to create some variables here. We're going to do int block x equals x times block size. Or, sorry, constants block size. And then int block y equals y times constants block size. Int block width equals constants block size. int block height equals constants block size. So we've got this grid of blocks here, right? And this x and y is looking through. This goes to the x, and then down this y, and so on all the way to the bottom. And then it gets the block at x and y. Like if you had x is 5 and y is 5, right? Or y is like 3 or something, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, in code, this starts at 0. So it would actually be a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this would get like whatever blocks you have over here. So now we have this x, y, width and height, right? And we'll make a new rectangle. Rectangle equals new rectangle. Block x, block y, block width, block height. We'll put that in there. And then we can do raylib, draw rectangle, rect. With the rectangle and the color, because this is a list of colors, we can do blocks x, y. Now let's press play. And make it bigger. You can see the red down here. That's your blocks. Right? If I were to go into constants and change the block size to something like 5, it's a little bit easier to see it here. You can see all the different blocks right there. And really quickly, we want to make it so that it kind of looks a bit more like a Minecraft world, right? Well, let's make another variable. Remember the .NET noise that we downloaded at the very beginning? That's where this is going to come in handy. Public fast noise, and press enter, noise equals new. And then in here, you see this seed right here? We're going to do new random dot next. That's going to give you a new random seed every time you start up the game. And then we can go in here and do float height equals noise dot Perlin fractal. And you see it has an x and a y. So we're going to put the x in here. And for the y, we're going to keep it at 0. We're going to multiply this by 25. And now we can do if y. Actually, let's change this to an int and add our cast here, the int in parentheses at the beginning. And we will do if y is greater than height. Now press play. See, it kind of looks a bit like that. Let's see. Let's do 25 plus 25 here. Looks kind of like this. Let's multiply the x by 40. Still looks about the same. Let's do multiply this by 70. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to get something that resembles Minecraft terrain. Let's see. What if we change it to get Perlin? That's odd. Oh! I know what's wrong. Do you see this int here before the noise get Perlin? We actually need to take this whole thing, put parentheses, and put it inside there. Now we press play. Looks kind of like that, but let's remove that times 100. And boom, there we go. Now we've got some ground that looks a bit more like Minecraft stuff. Let's change this to 100. Or actually, let's make constant int world size equals 100. Let's go through and find all these 50s and change that to world size. Now press play. Now we can see it looks kind of like this, right? And every time we play the game, it's going to look a little bit different. We can also do if y equals height, blocks x, y equals color green. And then another else, and put that like that. Press play. Now we've got grass at the top. Right? We could also do stone if y greater than height plus 30, blocks x, y equals color gray. And look at that. We've got the grass at the top, the sky above it, the dirt right here, and the stone right there. We can also just change this to brown. There, make it look a little bit more like dirt. There we go. Look at that. It's already starting to look like Minecraft. But your character can't really do anything with it just yet. Oh, and there's another little bug here. He's constantly able to just jump up like this. Let's quickly fix that here, right before we end off the episode. If we go here, up into here, ground equals false in this one. Now, he will only be able to jump up if he's on the ground. Let's move the blocks back up to their regular size. Let's go block size. Let's try block size of 15. See how that looks. Maybe a little bit bigger. 25. There we go. That looks nice. That looks like a pretty nice block size. Alright. So that's going to be it for this episode. In the next episode of the How to Create a 2D Minecraft in C#, we're going to go over collisions. And what collisions are is it's going to allow your character to walk on top of this world here. But that's going to be it for this episode. So I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.